books I like to read.
I know.
Good to see you.
Hello, friend. Ah, so you're an alchemist then. Now, you let me know if you need a cure.
What have you got there? Oh, could it be... You have found Tammy and Flora illustrated!
He said he loved me.
How wonderful! Thank you ever so much. There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Have you got a minute? I have a present for you. It's something we often used at home when we wanted to talk and we were in a hurry. We call it the quick shut horn, and it's a bit complicated to explain what it does. Therefore, I've also written everything down for you. When you are in a hurry, there are things that you probably don't want to discuss with me. And as you know, I'm rather talkative. If you use the quick shut horn instead, you can decide in advance what we are supposed to talk about when you call for me. It is a bit complicated. That's why I have written all the technical things down for you. I suggest that you read that before you try to use the horn. Then you will learn about that you have to have the horn as a favorite item, and that you need to use what we call a hotkey for it. If you want to, we can decide right away what topics you want to discuss when you use the horn. Else you can talk to me later about travel together, and then we can discuss the horn further. Alright, talk to me about travel together and set up the quick shut horn. I think you will like this. So, where are we going now? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Have you got a minute? There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Have you got a minute? I'm supposed to collect an eye of a saber cat, but that's not an ingredient. I mean, it's not like a flower you just pick. It seems we will have to track down a saber cat and kill it. Well, unless you have a better idea, of course. Oh, that's great. I must say those saber cats look really dangerous. I'm not sure I could kill one on my own. Anytime. It's so nice to just talk a little, you and I. I was just thinking, would you be interested if I told you a little about myself? I told you of my grandmother and how she encouraged me to try to find my own path in life rather than trying to live up to my parents' expectations. Already when I was a little girl, I preferred to dance and sing and tell stories rather than helping my mother mixing herbs. On my 10th birthday, my grandmother gave me a flute, a very special flute made out of zero-deal dogwood. It was like a whole new world opened up for me, the world of music. As soon as I had 5 minutes on my own, I was playing the flute. It didn't take long before I made up my mind. I wanted to be a bard. Of course my parents, and in particular my mother, were upset when I told them. You see, all the women in my family are alchemists, and everyone had taken for granted that I would follow the family tradition. However, my grandmother was on my side. She encouraged me to play, and she listened to my music. And she told me about the Bard College in Skyrim. But when I told my parents I wanted to go to Skyrim, they got furious. You see, they had completely different plans for me. Look, can we talk about this some other day, when we know each other a little better? Talk later. So, how does it feel to be a Stormcloak? I don't know. Ulfric seems rather level-headed, but I think Galmar is a bit obsessed. I can understand that you, being a Nord, wanted to join the Stormcloaks. Still, I can't help feeling that they are very unfair to the elves. I'm so glad that we managed to rescue Toran Greymane, but it's really sad that he cannot return to his home in Whiterun. Think that you managed to kill Hardy or Pirate. That's really pretty amazing. I'm sure both Adelaide and authors are really happy with it. You will make it lovely. You're a creep. You're as good as dead. Dragonborn.
It's not like my poaching is hurting anyone. The Jarl can hardly eat every deer now, can he?
I think Espen's quite an impressive fighter given his age. Do you see the Atronachs he summoned? Wow! You'll taste my sword! Ah! Don't you think so? Hi there.
Oh well. Must have run off.
Walk always in the light, or we will drag you.
Watch what you're doing.
Vigil will be watching.
You will be so dead. Shall we continue? How are you doing? You don't look well at all. You look so pale. Are you ill? I don't like wizards and the spells. Give me an axe any day. I hate wearing a helmet. It ruins my hair completely. What have you got there? Is it an eye of saber cat? Yes, indeed. It is an eye of saber cat. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your help. So, where are we going now? I'm gonna leave you with a sword. You are as good as dead. Uh-oh. Look over there. Go get him. I'm gonna nail you with my arrow. You will be so dead. Strange. We are a good team. Don't you think so? Did you hear that noise? Wonder what it was. You are so dead. Did you hear that noise? Wonder what it was. You know, the best defense isn't good. It's a good, strong weapon. Septimus Signus cannot be quite right in his head. What do you think? Oh, sorry.
Good to see you. Very good. I'm sure the Jarl will be quite pleased. Pleased enough to justify the significant amount of gold offered to the college to rectify the problem. I think it only fitting that the Archmage personally receive a large portion of the reward. Well done. Until next time.
Letters here.
That's too bad.
I'm so sorry. The museum has been robbed, and I'm afraid that I am at least partly to blame. Yes, you see, I haven't been exactly completely forthcoming with you about my past, and sadly, it has caught up with me. Before coming here, to Skyrim, I was part of a group of brigands back in Hammerfell, who operated in western Bangorai. One day we were on a job. We were posing as guards for a caravan destined for High Rock, planning to turn on it when we reached the wastes. Only, when we got there, we were ambushed. The entire job was a ploy to catch us and put an end to our banditry once and for all. That's how I lost my eye. Only a few of us escaped and fled into the hills of Dragontail Mountains. Bleeding and alone, I still to this day don't know how I survived up there. I was found just outside of Heldorn by a missionary who took me in and nursed me back to health. I swore to Tohwaka right then and there that I would turn my life around and and live a just and honest life from that day forward. So, I left it all behind and came here to Skyrim to start again. But it seems that those from my past have followed me here. I tried to fight them off, but they knocked out poor Orien and overpowered me and the other guards. They tied me up and made off with everything. I suppose they left me alive in hopes of me taking the fall for the robbery. I suppose it would be appropriate, given my failure. You mean you don't blame me? You are most forgiving. I'll do everything I can to recover the lost items. I believe I may have some ideas of where they went. There were a few jobs we had which brought us into Skyrim, and we had a couple of small holdouts back in the day. I would think that a good place to start would be Windcaller's Pass. It's a collapsed cave that once ran through the great mountain where we would hold up when the heat got too hot. It's remote enough that we would lay low if needed, and stash loot there before gathering up and departing for Hammerfell. Excellent. You won't be disappointed. I'll redeem myself yet.
Uh-oh. Who's over there? You're a dangerous bastard, aren't you?
This is the place. Be cautious.
I thought I heard footsteps.
Well, let me think a moment. I'm still in a bit of a haze from the ordeal. I believe they came in separately throughout the day and spread out across the entire museum. They never really interacted during the day, and some of them even left, but apparently must have climbed to the balcony entrance and were let back in and then hid. Another must have laid low in the cellar or armory when we weren't looking. Eventually, all the other patrons left for the day, and it appeared that the last of them was walking out when they suddenly barred the front door. Before I could fully draw my sword, one of them appeared behind me and knocked me on the head. Everything started spinning, and I heard a yell and a sudden groan from Orien in the office. Someone shot him with a dart, laced with a sleeping draught. I saw several figures wandering about, but my vision was still pretty unclear. But they were only there for about 20 minutes or so, I'd say. Eventually, I regained my senses to find myself tied up in the main hall. But by that time, they were gone. The other guards, they weren't so lucky. I heard fighting in various halls, which quickly died down. Afterwards, I didn't find any of them left alive. They always were quite efficient once a plan was in place. They aren't your typical smash and grab robbers. They didn't. After Orion came around, he untied me, and we quickly moved to investigate the situation. Orion says that they employed some forms of magic. Evidently, they had strong feather enchantments, and moved large amounts at a time up through the Hall of Heroes' upper balcony, and around the back patio of the safe house, and used some levitation charms to toss the items over the railing, where they slowly fell to the water below, where some of the thieves were waiting to receive them and send them to a waiting cart on the shore. Since it was dark, they were able to slip around the building without drawing any attention. Good. Yes, Engelmann's Rest. I know where that is. Jalal? Jalal himself is here? That isn't good. Jalal is the leader of the group of brigands I was with, and if he's here, we can be sure that Engelmann's Rest will be anything but hospitable. But by the sound of it, they already have a caravan bound for Hammerfell with some of the artifacts. We should move quickly to the pass near Falkreath before they make it out of Skyrim. Then we can double back to Engelmann's Rest. I'll scout ahead and meet you there.
I thought I heard footsteps. Be careful. Dead.
You don't have a chance! Victory is yours!
Now I'm gonna get you. You are nothing but a stupid.
This!
Shall we continue?
Excellent. That should account for the majority of the stolen artifacts. Whatever is left is surely at Engelmann's Rest. I'll mark it on your map. Well, it's an old Nordic ruin, so it likely will come with its own hazards. But if Jalal himself is there, we can be certain he'll be ready. Jalal is renowned for his use of effective ambushes, so be careful as we navigate through the ruin. I'll try to bring up the rear, and warn you if I see anything out of the ordinary. He may have employed a few traps as well too, so be careful. Hold up just a moment. I don't like the feeling of this place. There is something sinister about it. Listen, I know I am in no place to make requests right now, but I'd like to ask you for something all the same. When we encounter Jalal, allow me a moment to confront him. I may be able to make him stand down and allow us to recover the rest of the relics without further bloodshed. And in the end, despite the fact that I want nothing more to do with him, I do feel that I at least owe him the chance to face justice, rather than facing the blade. Your trust is not misplaced. I will make it quick. Stand down or be put down. I'll do the last one.
Now you're mine.
You won't get so easily.
Avram, so we meet again. It has been too long.
I would never have expected to have seen you here, Jalal. Usually you send your lackeys to do your dirty work.
Oh, you cut me to the quick, Avram. With a score this grand to be had, I had to come personally to oversee it. If you want something done right, after all, you do it yourself, no? Then I come to find out that you were involved, and I had a chance to bring you back into the fold. Well, I just had to come.
I will never again be a part of your paltry group of robbers. I left that life behind in Hammerfell. I have a new life here, and I want you out of it.
Oh, but Avram, you can never turn your back on blood. We have been through so much together, and we are brothers after all.
Our father would be ashamed to see what we had become, Jalal. I am trying every day to make up for what I did, what we did. And that life in Hammerfell no longer has any meaning for me, but a vast regret.
Well, my brother, that is sad to hear. If we are truly no longer brothers, and I cannot convince you to rejoin me, then I have no other choice but to end you. Farewell, my dear brother.
What was that?
Show me what you got.
Fantastic. I'm sorry Jalal caused you such headaches. Yes. We grew up in Hammerfell together, and when our father died when we were young, we had to do what we needed to get by. And so we turned to petty robbery and cons. It wasn't until we began to kill in the course of our actions that I even began to question it. Jalal was always very persuasive in getting me to believe what we were doing was always justified. I suppose that younger brothers are always prone to look up to their elder brothers. If you don't mind, I'm going to stay behind and take some time to bury my brother. Then I'll return to the museum and face my punishment. Thank you, my friend. You are ever so virtuous. I'll see you back at the museum in a few days.
Yes? Well, he seems like a very forthcoming fellow. There's more to him beneath the surface, like anyone, but he strikes me as a genuine person who wants to work hard at something that matters. Of course, I wouldn't have hired him otherwise. Fear not, my friend. I am an excellent judge of character, and Avram seems quite sincere. There is clearly more there to know, but it will come out in time, I'm sure, when he's ready. Ah, yes, that would be my personal sword, Adrasorn, meaning ancestral edge. What, don't picture me as the swashbuckling type? I assure you, I am just as capable with the blade as I am with the book. I just don't often find much call to employ the former. And so it remains in a place of honor and remembrance for me. Thank you for asking. I'll be fine, I'm just a bit shaken. I'm more worried about the state of the museum. Such a horrible state we've been left in.
Oh, dear. Are you serious? You managed to recover all of them? Every single stolen relic? Oh my, that is fantastic news! I'll get right to work restoring the museum to its proper glory. It will take me a few days, but I'll get things back to normal.
Until we meet again.
When I was working at the Winking Skeever, Sorix told me about Rogvir, that he was a mean bully. Maybe he was bad, but did he deserve to be executed? You look so pale. Are you ill?
To see you again.
I have finished tending to my brother's burial. I thank you for allowing me that. I am ready to discuss my punishment. Of course, I may have been blind in this situation, but I do have a code of honor. I am ready to face whatever punishment you deem necessary.
My friend, might I have a word with you first? My friend, might I have a word with you first? What would be your intended punishment for Avram's oversight? I think that is most sensible. Avram feels horrible about the whole ordeal, and even though his brother is a thief, he did lose him in the process as well.
You look so
You
pale.
are forgiving my part in all
you
this?
ill?
Oh, thank you so much. I swear I will be redoubling my efforts to securing the museum. Thank you again for your understanding. I found something amongst Jalal's personal effects, tucked away in Engelman's Rest, which I would like you to have. It was a sword of our father, Hagram. With Jalal dead, it passes to me, and I would like you to have it. It is the least I can do for you in repayment for your forgiveness. A true repayment will be to ensure it never happens again.
Ah, I'm glad you're here. I have come across a rare discovery indeed. I got word of a unique relic and was able to procure it from the seller. Use it if you wish, or place it on display.
Ah, my friend. Ah, yes, that was a bit of unsettling business now, wasn't it? I kept being awakened by strange voices in the museum and found that the pages of my books by my bed would be turning on their own, and decided to call the aid of the priests of Archay. I took refuge at the Blue Palace in the meantime. Thank you for looking into it. Also, I'm to understand that you paid out of pocket for the statue out front, which appeased the spirit. I'll reimburse you for that. Ah, yes, indeed. I wanted to discuss a proposal I have for you regarding the museum and your profession as a relic hunter. There have been many people inquiring about potential work here as of late, spurred on by your success, as it were. But I feel that many of them may have potential to assist us in uncovering more relics and lore. My idea was that we could form a guild such as here at the museum. Call it the Explorers Society, and members could combine their efforts and collaborate to investigate more ruins, uncover more legends and lost lore. The fruits of any labor sponsored by the guild would be displayed here. This could take some of the workload off of you and provide a new source of people and information that you could utilize on larger ventures. What do you think? Fantastic! I'm very excited about getting underway. I would say that perhaps the best arrangement would be to have you as Guildmaster, and I would take the role of Chief Librarian to gather the collective knowledge which would also help benefit the museum, and allow me to continue my work here while still aiding the growing guild. I would start with writing the guild charter for your approval, while you could start with the construction of the guild house. I've already drawn up plans for an addition to be built, attached to the back end of the reception hall. It will require some considerable revision to part of the city wall, which I have already gotten permission for from the Blue Palace. I envision the guild house having a grand view of Skyrim, which could be both logistically beneficial and awe-inspiring at the same time. Once the building is completed, you could undertake recruiting new members, and I could direct possible applicants to you as well. I'll start work right away, and have a workbench set up out back for you to start on the guild house. I've also made arrangements for Huron at the mill outside Solitude to sell you some lumber at a discount.
There's something I'd like to talk to you about. Have you got a minute? I have to confess, I actually have more communication halls for you. I didn't want to give them to you at the same time as the other one. You see, I simply didn't want to make things too complicated for you. But these are simpler to use. 3 of them represent specific topics that we can discuss as we travel. The 4th one you can use to tell me to keep quiet when it's inconvenient that I'm talking. I won't be offended, I swear. Like with the other horn, you have to make these horns favorite items and assign them to a hotkey. I have written down the instructions for you. It's easier that way. Of course you don't have to use them. But if I may, I would suggest that you give at least one of them a try. It's so nice to small talk when traveling, and the horns will make this so much easier. Shall we continue?